Imagine a country so vast it stretches across 17 million square kilometers. Yet its capital feels as expensive and crowded as New York. Why do people still rush to live here? And what makes it so magnetic? That country is Russia, the largest on Earth, and its capital is Moscow. Located in the western part of the nation, not in the frozen depths of Siberia, this city faces winters that dip to around -20 degrees. At its heartstand, landmarks recognized worldwide. From the Kremlin to Red Square, symbols that place Moscow on the same scale as the grand capitals of Europe and America. The real fascination lies in the contrast. Here you find raw political power, stunning architecture, and a nightlife that never seems to fade. Beneath the streets runs a metro system designed like palaces, while to the north in St. Petersburg entire summers glow with white nights when the sun refuses to set. Together, these elements make Moscow, and Russia itself, impossible to ignore. Would you step into this world of extremes to see it for yourself? Moscow, power and symbols. Is there really a square that can hold more than 1 million people during moments of national importance? In Moscow, the answer is yes. At the very heart of the city stands the Kremlin, the centuries-old fortress that now serves as the residence of the president and the seat of Russian power. Just outside its walls lies Red Square, wide enough to host parades, speeches, and celebrations that fill the space with waves of people. Here, the cobblestones are perfectly clean. The air feels heavy with history, and the colorful domes of St. Basil's Cathedral rise like a painted crown over the capital. Walking through this space is like stepping into the beating heart of Russia, where politics, tradition, and pride merge into one. But it also raises a question worth thinking about. Does living in such a powerful capital make life richer and more meaningful? Or would you find more comfort in the quieter charm of Europe's other great cities? Scale, climate, and people. It is not the frozen Siberia with -50 degrees, but the -20 of Moscow is already enough to chill you to the bone. The city sits in the western part of Russia, covering just about 2,500 square kilometers, yet it holds nearly 19 million people. By comparison, St. Petersburg, the next largest city, has only around 6 million. That density makes Moscow feel more like the great metropolises of Europe, where every block buzzes with movement and energy. Skyscrapers rise to house its people, and the streets stay alive even when the cold winds bite. So here is the choice every traveler must consider. Would you rather see Moscow blanketed in snow with frozen rivers and glowing lights? Or visit during the warmer months when the city bursts into color and life? Rhythm of life and style. Here the streets are like a studio. Every corner feels ready for a magazine shoot. People rarely walk alone, moving in groups of friends that fill the boulevards with laughter and chatter. In the city center, photographers with professional cameras offer quick sessions, turning everyday sidewalks into fashion backdrops. The style of the Slavic people adds to the atmosphere. Fair features, elegant clothing, and a natural sense of confidence make the crowds themselves part of the city's scenery. Street musicians add their sounds to the mix, and when night falls, the sidewalks overflow with energy, making it hard to find a quiet spot. This is a capital alive at every hour, bursting with vitality that wraps you up the moment you step outside. So what would capture your attention first? The striking architecture that towers above, or the people who bring the streets to life? Cost of living and financial pressures. $2,000 a month is only the entry ticket, and to live with comfort you may need $4,000 to $5,000. Renting a decent apartment often starts at about 80,000 rubles, close to $800, and cheaper options are usually old, far from the center, or too small to fit a family. For many, nearby cities like Vladimir or Kazan become alternatives, offering lower costs while still keeping some of the cultural flavor of Russia. This weight of expenses makes Moscow feel closer to the capitals of Western Europe or America, where daily life constantly pushes against the limits of income. For locals and newcomers alike, the city offers opportunity but demands sacrifice. So the question is simple, yet personal. Would you be willing to chase higher earnings just to keep pace with this lifestyle? Or would you choose a slower rhythm in exchange for peace of mind? Infrastructure and urban experience. The metro here feels like a palace, a heritage site hidden beneath the ground. With more than 160 stations spread across the city, the system is vast, efficient, and remarkably clean. Many stations are decorated with chandeliers, mosaics, and marble, turning a simple commute into a cultural experience. Above the surface, the Moscow River flows through the capital, serving as the lifeline of the city. While Moscow has no coastline like many other capitals, this river gives residents a place to gather, walk, and relax. In winter, it freezes into a silver ribbon, and in summer, its banks become a stage for everyday life. It is a rare balance, a city that feels heavily urbanized, yet still manages to be poetic. And it leaves you wondering, does a truly livable city need beauty in its metro stations? Or is speed and efficiency enough? Luxury and consumer life. At night, the city shifts gears, and you can hear Ferraris and Lamborghinis roar to life along Malaya Brunaya. Just a few streets away, Petrovka shines with luxury boutiques and high-end shopping that rivals any European capital. It is the playground of Moscow's elite, where wealth is displayed in every window and every polished car cruising past. Even weddings here reflect this mix of grandeur and intimacy. Many couples choose simple ceremonies, yet the backdrops are so grand that even modest gatherings look extraordinary. The city itself becomes part of the celebration. It feels like an open-air fashion runway, where the streets are the stage and the people are the models. But it also sparks a question worth asking. Does this display of wealth make the city more attractive, or does it slowly push young people and ordinary families farther away from its center? Transition to St. Petersburg. Every capital has its counterpart. London has Manchester, Rome has Naples, and Moscow has St. Petersburg. This city in the northwest sits close to Europe, only a short trip to Finland and the Baltic countries, making it feel more open to the continent than the capital itself. It is a place where Russian culture meets European influence, where canals and sea breezes replace the inland river life of Moscow. The contrast between the two cities is sharp, yet together they form the twin faces of modern Russia. If you were spending time in Moscow, would you be tempted to slip away for a weekend by the Baltic Sea to experience the different rhythm of St. Petersburg, Venice of the North, and the White Nights? Nights refuse to end here, and the city turns into one long summer party. St. Petersburg is often called the Venice of the North, built on 42 islands, tied together by more than 50 canals and nearly 500 bridges. The Neva River glitters under the endless glow, and every street feels alive. From late May to early July, the White Nights transform the city. Music fills the air, light shows dance across the sky, and festivals keep people awake well past midnight while the sun still lingers on the horizon. It is a spectacle for the eyes, a burst of energy that makes the city unforgettable. But there is another side. The constant brightness can make rest difficult, and the noise of celebration never seems to fade. For visitors, it is magic. For residents, it can be exhausting. So which would you choose? A city break during the sleepless white nights, or a quiet escape in the golden colors of autumn? Heritage, education, and identity. From swamp to gateway of Europe, this was the bold vision of Peter the Great. He founded St. Petersburg with the dream of creating a city that would connect Russia to the West, and for 200 years it stood as the nation's capital. The streets and palaces built during that time still define its character today. The city carries scars as well as triumphs. During World War II, then called Leningrad, it endured a siege that lasted 900 days. The people survived hunger, cold, and relentless bombardment without surrender. That resilience is etched into the city's memory, standing side by side with its beauty. St. Petersburg is also a hub of learning, with dozens of universities that attract students from across Russia. Its preserved architecture and academic life give it both a historic dignity and a youthful energy. So when you visit, what would you seek first? The masterpieces of the Hermitage Museum or the stories of endurance told by its wartime history? Cost of living in modern realities. Renting a 2-bedroom apartment here can cost around $1,000 a month. Yet many residents earn less than $1,100. In central districts, the price often climbs to $1,500. And to live comfortably, a family needs at least $3,300 each month. The pressure is clear, and it shapes how people choose to live. The city still offers strong infrastructure. The metro spreads across 54 stations, designed with beauty as well as efficiency. A train ride to Moscow takes about 5 hours, and those who arrive by sea enjoy a visa-free stay of up to 72 hours. Still, daily life is not without challenges. Rain falls often, skies stay gray, and for newcomers, the Cyrillic alphabet can be a difficult barrier. When I think about what makes a place truly livable, I cannot help but wonder. Do we need long, sunny days to feel alive? Or do we need the magic of white nights to remind us of our youth? Russia is both power and romance, cold steel and summer light, two extremes that live together in the same urban soul. Moscow dazzles with its authority and luxury, while St. Petersburg enchants with art, canals, and nights that never end. So which would you choose, Moscow or St. Petersburg, for the lifestyle it offers, or for the stories it carries through history? In the next journey, we will move beyond these famous cities to explore places like Yekaterinburg, Kazan, and Nizhny Novgorod, each with its own secrets waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this glimpse into Russia, remember to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you do not miss the next adventure.